rear view. It got me staring at the world through my rear view. Go and make me scream to God, he can hear you. I can feel your heart beating fast, got this time to die. Getting high, watching time fly. And all my motherfuckers staring at the world through my.
Hi guys, you're back with Juzzie, and this is my TweakedGSX. Today we're looking at installing a Quadlock with a wireless head adapter and the 1 1/8 inch adapter so that it fits over the stock handlebar, as well as the 12-volt Quadlock waterproof USB smart adapter. Not sure what a Quadlock is. It is a mounting system which enables you to put your phone into a mount and then you turn it, and then there's no way for it to come off unless you physically turn it when you go to leave your bike. I've got a Samsung S22, and this phone, Quadlock makes a case for it. So the only thing I don't or didn't like about it when I first got it is that there's not much grip, there's no texture to the case, so it is a bit slippery in the hand, but you just get used to it. I had this phone now for about 1.5 years, and if I do upgrade to a different phone, another Samsung later, I would get this case again. So part of the case has this indentation or insert on the back of it, and basically it's the locking system that locks into this part. And because I've got this wireless charging head adapter, it basically, I don't have to sit on the bike, connect the USB cable or anything like that. You simply just turn it in and it's charging. It's so good. You can have it sitting portrait style, landscape style. So this actually here is the wireless head adapter. So all you do is that you run a USB cable to the lower side of this port. It is weather shielded. Don't worry about this. So I shaved this off to make it fit on my last bike, but it was perfectly fine. And because this is underneath, the rain never gets up there. I will have the links to these parts just as I always do in my videos. When I owned my old bike, I don't know if it was a noob thing where a lot of people that buy the bike are brand new to motorbikes and they just can't be bothered doing any sort of research and they just don't know. But lots of people all the time used to ask me, where did you get that? And I would spend all the time talking just like this in the videos, and it just seems like it just went over people's heads. So it was incredibly frustrating. So much so that I've put a thing in my video saying that if you ask me that question after I've told you to have a look in the description box, then you're going straight to my Instagram stories. Haha. All right, so as you can see here, I've just put the inner ring for the 1 1/8 inch 28.6mm adapter. And just to make it nice and easy, I'm just going to hand tighten that little Allen headed bolt in there. So I'm not going to do that tight for now. I'm going to go and get my Allen key, but the key thing to note here is that it fits, it is the right size, and as you can see, I can then go ahead and angle this to the appropriate angle for a person of my height. So I thought I would just take off the wireless head adapter so you can see what it looks like without it. So if you don't have a wireless head adapter, then basically what happens is you have this top head plate, and this is the part that quad locks into your case. So that just basically would bolt straight in there, and that's all there is to it. Now if you've got a Samsung phone, their cameras aren't delicate like a pretty ballerina like your iPhone uses, and so therefore if you've got an iPhone, what happens is if you don't have the Quadlock anti-vibration mount, then more than likely your iPhone's going to crack, your camera's not going to like it, and it's just going to cry. But if you've got a strong Samsung like I do, then when you go to mount this to your bike, the good news is that you don't need to buy that additional part. So this illuminates blue when you turn it on, just a tiny little LED, so that it's not up and sort of in my way. I'm going to have that down, pointing down. Got the Quadlock logo facing the right orientation. This has a whole bunch of teeth on the inside so that you can rotate it and make sure that it's tightened and it will never move. That's important because this Quadlock system involves rotating the phone when you go to put it on this clamping device. So yeah, basically this just uses metric Allen key, super easy. You don't even have to do it that tight, so we'll leave it like that. So I've pretty much got it just in line with the GSXS logo, sort of, if you know what I mean. And it's so easy. Just a series of Allen headed bolts and you're away. Everything's black, so it's nice and stealth. So I'll just get you a closer look at that. So here's what it looks like from the front. Now, just remembering that I've got handlebar risers. I think I'd much rather have the phone in this landscape mode. So I'll just show you what I do. So that's it. It's locked on just like that. And so when I'm sitting here on the bike, you know, I can see that perfectly fine. And I'm gonna have to sit on the bike and see how it goes. But as you can see, it's gonna be no problem to undo that bolt and tilt it down a bit. Maybe it does need to go down just a little bit. But when you walk around, even with the handlebar risers, actually looks really decent. And most importantly, when you go to steer, you don't have any problems with the phone, fouling the tank. So that's a win. Quadlock USB charger. I've actually installed one very similar to this on my friend's Honda Rebel previously, and so I don't expect it to be any different. Just a little unbox here. So inside you've got an instruction manual that nobody wants to read. You have got some wires. In auto mode, this device will remain on after the engine has been shut off until the battery voltage drops below 12.5 volts. Okay, so we've got the device here, auto off on. Don't know what position it's on. Looks like it's on, okay, it's on the off position from factory. Interesting. So I'll just leave that at off, and then once I've got it all wired up, I'll probably put it to, I'll check the manual down and just see what it says. So here you've got your USB outlet end. So you still need to have a USB cable, USB to USB-C adapter that goes to the bottom of the Quadlock mount that I just showed you. And then this mount here, this looks familiar. This one, just take this rubber band off. So here we've got the ring terminals, negative and positive. You've got a fuse in here. Can't see the size, but it'll be written on the fuse, not that I need it. And then here is the connector that goes into here. They put rubber around that, wonder why. Okay, so that's nice and in now. In here, then you've just got some zip ties to hold this cable down when you're routing it from the battery, under the seat, under the tank. Right now I don't actually have the side covers, which you see over there on the bike. But generally speaking, all you have to do is just remove the one black bolt that's on the side, pull the cover off, pull the cover down towards the front tire, the bottom of the front tire, so that you don't break the tab that's just up there. Then you just undo the bolt for the seat, because it fouls this black plastic. So you have to run the wires facing towards the tail of the bike. You generally find that with a Phillips head, they're hard to undo. So just use a socket to undo them, or wrench. USB cable, and plug it in. Is that the right way? Yeah. Just plug it into this. Now at the moment the switch is set to auto, off, on. So let's just put it to off. And the key is off on the ignition, so I'm going to connect it, and sure enough, there's no power. So now I'm going to put it to auto, and again, there's no power. So I'll put it to on, and then you can see that it starts charging. So if I put it to off mode, it stops charging. If I go to Okay, so I've got the screen on, turn the ignition. So at the moment it's off. So off is off, doesn't matter what you do. So if you put it to off mode, you wire it up and then you bolt it all up, it's not going to turn on for you. So off is completely off. I don't know why you'd want to have that. It's only probably of use if you are in a caravan or something where you can reach this easily. If you have it at auto, okay, so the bike is not started and it's not charging. If I put it to on, it charges straight away. So yeah, I'm going to leave it on the auto mode so that it's got the cutout. It's not actually charging at the moment because the bike's not running, so it's not seeing, I think it said 13.7 volts, and I'm quite happy with that because I don't need to be sitting there trying to charge my phone when I'm not operating a bike. Alright, so that's good. I'm leaving it in the auto mode, which is to this long side, the right side. Alright, so the first thing I just wanted to mention is that because of this red cover that is used to go over and shield the positive terminal, because we now have this wire in the way, this can't possibly go over it. So what I'm going to do is just put one little incision on this side. So long as I zip tie it here, that cable's not going to go anywhere. So it's feeding inside these fairings here. Underneath, if you put your hand in underneath this grey cover here, there is a rubber grommet for, I guess, a mount for this fairing. So I'm actually just going to push it over that grommet so that it's hasn't got any way to fall down and hit the ground. The cable's running here underneath this clamp to the back of the Quadlock. I've got the bars at full lock right. If I hold this here and go left, it's no problem, doesn't want to come disconnected at all. And this wiring here just looks completely factory. That there is a white ring clamp that has to go in here, but I'm going to zip tie this down and just confirm when the cable's down here at the bottom. When you go to put the seat down, so nothing is actually rubbing all the time, because that is where you'll get a short. The black box is down on the left hand side. The black cable is zip tied here on the right hand side. The red and black cable is zip tied underneath. There are no sharp points there for it to short out on. Over here I've zip tied this to this circular ring. I'm going to just try now putting the seat on to make sure that it comes down correctly. There's no slop in the cable here, so all the cable is fed inside underneath the tank here. There's no moving parts on the outside there. It saves you from having to undo all this fairing to lift the tank up, prop the tank, and then feed the cable underneath. Alright, so now that I've got that zip tied back, the cable's fed underneath the tank here. It goes on top of a grommet so it can't actually fall down, and I've got no slack because I've got the cable zip tied at this point here. As you can see, the black box with the switchable auto on off setting, I've got it set at auto, fits snugly down between the battery and this surround, I guess you could say, the frame, and the battery doesn't move around. The cables are zip tied in. I've got this black cable zip tied on the side here. The good news is that when you put the seat down, the white circular ring that bolts in the seat is well and truly above this, so that's not going to fail. So finally, after doing a few installs on the bike over this weekend, which you guys will see over a period of a couple of weeks, you can see here that the side coverings are back in, the seat's back on, and the bike is again back to a riding form. I've got the USB cable mounted now. Again, if you remember, I put the Quadlock onto the auto setting. So the key is off at the moment, so it's to off, and you can see that the phone is not getting a charge. But when I go to put the key to accessories, you'll notice here that because the battery is not showing 13.7 volts, that it's not actually charging yet. So the bike's in neutral now. I'm just going to do a quick start of it. So you can see there that when the device registered that it was picking up 13.7 volts, it then started charging the bike. So it didn't immediately draw to the phone, which assists the battery, I guess, to help crank to start the bike. So that's a win. That means that's completely installed. So for this video here, that means that we've come to a conclusion. I hope that you have enjoyed this install of the Quadlock Pro mount to the Suzuki GSX S750, as well as the install for the 12 volt smart adapter for the battery terminals to run directly to the actual Quadlock mount. I also talked about the Quadlock case in here, so if you've got any questions about that setup that I've got in my bike, feel free to let me know. If you've got generic inquiries for another bike, or if it fits some other bike, please don't contact me, please contact Quadlock. Again, if you'd like to find out where to buy this, you can find the links in my video description. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.